Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today I thought it would be nice to actually address another topic. So the game you see in the background playing isn't actually me talking about it, it's just some footage, because I don't have a webcam yet. Today we are talking about ladder anxiety, because a lot of people in StarCraft II are actually scared to ladder. One of the most asked questions I ever get is how to improve and how to get better in StarCraft II. People have the urge to improve, but they are actually scared to load up the ladder, play a game, or they end up playing one game and then they do something else for ages. This is called ladder anxiety. People are actually scared to play the game just because they don't like losing. Of course, this is a pretty bad thing because you want to improve, you want to get better in StarCraft II, but you aren't practicing because your body tells you, nope, don't do it. You're gonna get mad again, you're gonna lose again, don't take the unnecessary risk. And of course that's a bad thing because you want to improve. The first thing that you have to note is that it's completely mental. It's completely emotional and natural and normal. The problem with the fear of laddering is that it's completely automatic. Your brain plays to win, and it's not sure how to deal with a loss versus another player. This is when nature takes over and you start telling your opponent that he's trash and that you're much better than him, and you don't want to start a next ladder game because you just know you are better and you are scared of losing again. Probably at some point in time every professional StarCraft II player out there at this very moment had this problem as well. Either they started playing when they were like 11 and grew up with it completely, or they at some point also had to deal with the same thing of being scared to load up a next game and they actually just didn't do it. Because you are excited to play and you are expecting a win, your body will take over and you will actually make a high adrenaline before and during games, especially when you play rarely. Adrenaline is often felt as fear, not as adrenaline, and when you load up a StarCraft game, when you don't play 20 games a day and you don't do it for the last 8 years, you will actually feel it and you might be scared, but you have to accept it. Adrenaline won't make you worse, but you just can notice it as fear inside of your body and you just have to be aware of it. The other thing that you could tell yourself before loading up a ladder game is what would be the worst that could possibly happen. An effective way to actually reduce your adrenaline in your fear is to expect the worst. Just expect that you are going to be demoted about 5 ladder ranks and how that is going to affect your daily life. Of course it's not going to affect your daily life if you're not a professional. And then again, if you are a professional, you probably have already dealt with this. So what you have to keep in mind is that you could always just buy a new account if that's the worst that could happen. One of the most asked questions about ladder anxiety is why does it only happen in StarCraft II and why have I never felt it before? Well, let's compare a game like StarCraft II with, for example, Call of Duty. What's the difference? Well, when you die in Call of Duty, you will actually respawn once the respawn timer is done. You will probably respawn within like 5 or 6 seconds and then you're ready to go once again and you will actually forget about your loss. In one game, in maybe 10 minutes, you can maybe die 20 times and you won't remember any of them after like 5 minutes. The difference is that in StarCraft II you actually have to click the find game button once again. You have to go and actually play another game and you have to actually force yourself to play again and stop thinking about your loss. Losses in StarCraft II don't take seconds, they actually usually take minutes for most players and it keeps you thinking. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind, is that the sooner you click the next find game button, you will actually be over the ladder anxiety as well. Of course I'm not saying this is the best solution because there's more effective things to do after a loss, but we are going to cover that in a little bit. Besides just grinding out a lot of ladder games, there are other ways to actually improve in StarCraft II. Players like Red, for example, are very well known for looking at a lot of VODs and actually watching a lot of replays and actually checking out every single style, playing against the computer and actually just trying to improve that way. This is one of the things you can do when you have really bad ladder anxiety. It's just going up and actually checking up some VODs of professional players and actually watching them from an analytical point of view, where you just try to actually notice what they do and how they play their matchup. So let's actually talk about a few practical solutions. Ladder anxiety won't go away on its own and you actually have to work on it. It's like public speaking. When you public speak like once every year, you will be scared as hell. But if you do it every other week, it will be much easier over time. You have to work on it simply by playing more games. One thing that always helps me is that when you lose, you actually can work on more stuff than when you win. When you win, you probably won't be looking at the replay and you probably won't realize that you did something wrong. However, when you lose, you can go back to the replay, check out what you did wrong and actually note it down mentally or just write it down physically to notice what you did wrong and not do that mistake again. This is one of the big things that actually helps me, but just realizing that I have to do something better, and that is the reason why I lost. Another really good thing to do is actually to not care about your ladder rank. Let's say you're Silver League and you actually want to be Gold League. Well, you have to eliminate that thought of being Gold League. If you are going to try to become Gold League, you're probably not gonna become Gold League. Simply because you just have to practice and your brain tells you to be scared to practice and you simply will neglect practice altogether. When you lose, always analyze your replay to see what you did wrong. I know this is pretty tough. I know it's much easier to actually check out some new YouTube video or maybe go browse on Team Liquid a little bit. But it's much better to actually go ahead and check out your replay and check what you did wrong. Also, another very practical solution to ladder anxiety is to play more custom game with friends. Load up a game with a friend, sit on Skype and discuss the game. Ask your opponent what he is doing at that point in time and just have fun about it. Don't be mad at your friend because he wins or because he's better at you. The fact is, you probably will improve faster if you play against someone who is better than you because you will lose more often. And you will just improve faster that way because there's much more to work on. So the best solution I can give you is to just stop caring so much about your ladder rank and to realize this is purely an emotional and mental play in your StarCraft II play. It happens with loads of things and it's just something you have to deal with because you're human. At least I assume you're human. Try to eliminate as many emotions that are taking you down during the game or before the game. They are not going to be very informative and you just have to realize they are not going to help you if you want to improve. Also, a very easy way to actually improve is to just force yourself to, for example, at 7 PM I'm going to play 5 to 10 games and I'm going to do it every single Wednesday of the next month. This is probably one of the easiest and practical ways to win and to become better at StarCraft II. Well, of course you have to play more than 5 games a week, but when you feel like it, you're not going to play. You have to just realize that you have to play to get better and you have to force yourself to play instead of letting your ladder anxiety control it. For me myself, when I really want to improve, I just tell myself I'm going to play 10 to 15 to 20 games a day, depending on how much spare time I have, and I'm not going to care about the losses at all. I'm going to watch every single replay of the games that I lose, and then I'm going to watch some videos on demand or some replays or whatever if I feel like I'm tilting. And then after being done with tilting, I'm gonna get some green tea, gonna eat something, and then I'm going to go back to laddering. Realize that your body makes adrenaline just to keep you more focused. Oftentimes adrenaline is actually misperceived as fear. Realize that adrenaline is not fear and yet you don't have to be scared because what is going to be the worst that's gonna happen? Always imagine that the worst that's going to happen is that you actually have to play another game to get back to your original rank. And you know, you're not going to lose your house, you're not going to lose your kids and wife just because you are playing StarCraft. Just don't let adrenaline ruin the game for you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you actually made it up until this point. If you did, please hit me the thumbs up, as well as a comment in the section below to actually tell me what you think about this kind of video. I really enjoy making them and I really enjoy to actually think about the game in this manner. But if you don't, please let me know and I try to improve whatever you like. So yeah, want to thank you all for watching. Have a great day, don't forget to smile and I see you again. Thanks for watching, bye!